All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Autonomy podcast. And today I'm welcoming Arsala.
Hi, Judy. Thank you.
How are you, Arsala? Really great to have you on one of these episodes. I'm really excited to have you today because I can see your progress so far in almost 3 to 4 months. It's absolutely scintillating.
Thank you so much. That's so kind. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Absolutely great to have you here as well. And we all are at Autonomy are really proud of you and your achievements so far. Tell me how you feel. You started around March and now you are almost 11 kilos, 12 kilos down, almost 24 pounds. That is massive, Arsala. How do you feel?
It's been a very wonderful journey, but it's complex, right? I think people on the outside, before they have some sort of transformation like this, think it's going to be one way or I'm only going to feel one way. It's not really true. There are beautiful highs that come when you see your consistency, when you're building greater motivation. No, I made time for my steps, so I'm going to go ahead and keep making time for them, or I'm going to make sure that I'm hitting all my meals. And then there's these challenges that will come, right? With these normal frustrations, like certain weeks for women, certain weeks will stall in our weight and nothing moves. But because it's normal, that's okay. But then you think, oh, it's not working, or what do I do, or that sort of thing. And it's funny you actually mentioned all this, Julie. This last 3 weeks or so, I have actually noticed my weight loss slow down. So I'm thinking now, what are the things that I have to be doing more and more? So kind of complex, but it's been a beautiful journey. I don't take it back. I don't regret it. I know this was the right decision for me. And the complexity is helping me learn more and be more mindful of the fact that there is going to be change and difference, and I have to adapt to everything. So I am incredibly grateful. I think this will sound strange. It's helping me be a better adult all around.
Absolutely. This is really great to hear because we sometimes forget that this is a journey and not a race. It has its ups and downs. There's humps, there's obstacles. We need to be graceful and take a step back and reflect and see how we can overcome those obstacles as well. So tell me about your challenges before you started this program, actually. What got you to start Autonomy?
So what got me to start, actually, I have felt this entire time is like some cosmic force, like God or something is what brought me here, because I had no plans of joining anything formally. I thought to myself, I was just online and I was looking up stuff that's specific to the South Asian community. So I'm ethnically Pakistani, and there have been a fair number of, I would say, challenges that my family has faced, right? So we have a lot of overweight people in my family. Diabetes is relatively common in my family. For some people, hypertension. For some people, things like high cholesterol. So we kind of run the gamut for a regular, Desi family, what we call a Desi family. But something that I did specifically, Julie, that was different over these last 12, 13 years is I've been a regular weightlifter since my early 20s. And my family thought that was so taboo. They thought it was weird. They were like, girls shouldn't do this sort of thing. But it's something that I wanted to maintain because I knew strength had a lot to do, bodily strength had a lot to do with being healthier and healthier. And strength is something that I've always really wanted. The way I got started was I was online and I was looking up things about South Asian health challenges. And I'm sure that Nathan and Urjita talk to you all the time about things that are real, South Asian abdominal obesity. We have some of the largest on the planet, things like that, right? Just looking up things like that. And I happened to see Nathan Johnson pop up on Google, but it was his Instagram link. And I just clicked on the link. I had no idea who he was. I'd never seen Nathan before. I'd never seen Urjita before. I'd never seen anything from Autonomy. And I was just watching those, the cute videos that he'll post where he puts a pillow in his shirt. Have you seen those ones?
Yeah.
So I just was watching it. I was like, oh, this looks fun. And I'm just watching it. I started clicking on it and I would read some of the comments and I would be like, this guy doesn't look South Asian. He doesn't look like a Desi guy. Who is this? And then I was like, you know what though? Just because he's a Westerner doesn't mean that I couldn't learn something. I just followed him. I didn't know this guy, just followed him. 2 minutes later, I got a DM. And Julie, I swore, I was like, this is a fraud. I'm like, this is some weirdo who's gonna scam me for money. And he started out so simple. And he's like, hey, thanks for the follow. What's your name? And I was like, Arsala Khan. He's like, cool, Arsala, how old are you? I was like, I'm 37. So suspicious. And he's like, where are you located? I was like, United States. He was like, Nathan was like, what's your name? Where are you located? How old are you? Things like that. And I was telling him, and I'm like, he's gonna be like, what's your credit card number? And I'm gonna be like, man, what is this? And he goes, hey, Ursula, so, it's good to link with you, good to connect with you. And he was like, let me know if you have any desire to join Autonomy. And I was like the head of Autonomy just DM'd me on Instagram. And it was and he was so professional. He was just sincere. He was normal. And I was like, okay. And he was like, hey, I'm gonna set up a Zoom meeting with one of our trainers, Bhavya. And if it seems like it's a good fit, join us. And if it doesn't, then don't. down. And I was like, set up a Zoom meeting, like, okay, whatever. And he totally
Yeah.
did. And then Bhavya was amazing. And she was like, I'm going to set you up with Urjita because she's got clients that she's ready to work with. And I had looked at her Instagram and I'm like, this girl is amazing. Like, I was looking at her bodybuilding prep and her competition, her posing, how strong she was. And I was like, what? And so it was like a whirlwind. I was actually traveling when I first had my onboarding meeting. And I was like, this is incredible. The way I got started was like boom, 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 boom. It was so fast. It was so meaningful. And I knew, Julie, it was the right thing for me.
And it's always like we're skeptical when we see things online, but it's also like when you feel that genuineness, you know, at the end of the day, like, okay, this is working for me. This sounds real. This looks real. And I'm really getting the benefit. And certainly you're seeing the benefits, right?
Certainly, like I could not believe how quickly, I mean, on March 3rd, I was 92 kgs or 203 pounds. And at the end of May, I was sitting at 180. I was like, that's incredible. Wow. I could not believe it. And when I was talking to Bhavya right before I got on my onboarding meeting with Urjita, Bhavya was like, well, tell me a little bit about what you do. And I was like, oh, I'm a weight trainer. I love powerlifting. I lift pretty heavy in the gym. I really enjoy that. And she goes, what are your steps like every day? And I was like, 200. And she was like, okay. So we're not going to keep that up. We're not doing 200 steps a day. But she was sweet to me. And she was like, she explained to me, she was like, Ursula, she's like, all you did was an inadvertent bulk. You didn't mean to bulk. You just did. And, that's all it was. And I was like, okay. So she was explaining it to me and then Urjita too. And so I was really lucky.
And how do you feel now your weight training is going with being on a deficit?
So some weeks it's absolutely fine because I actually told Urjita that I train about 3 days a week. Some days I go in 5 times a week. I'll do other training. So like the ones that she gave me, I'll hit those. But if I want to do like a heavy chest day or a heavy back day or a heavy glute day or something, I'll do that on an alternate day that's not necessarily on the list. And then there are some weeks so that I do feel hungrier. I'll note that. But I don't adjust the caloric intake. I'll just let myself feel a little bit hungry. That's okay. I'm allowed to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask you, Arsala, what did you struggle with in the past with nutrition?
I love this question because I believe that before I started on March 3rd, I thought, and I'm sure all of your guests, all of the clients from Autonomy say this, and you just roll your eyes, but it's true. Julie, I had no idea how much I was intaking in my day. There was a day that I was with Urjita on WhatsApp, and I said, hey, I want to show you something. And I put into a food calculating app what my kind of normal lunch, dinner, snack day looked like. So I'm 5'5", about 81 kgs right this minute. And my daily intake that I have is about 1,800 calories. So 500, 500, 500, and a 300 calorie snack. That's pretty normal, I think. Julie, do you know how much I was eating beforehand? 3,200 calories.
Yeah, wow.
Easily. And it's so deceiving, right? It's not like I'm eating like tubs of macaroni and cheese, but it'll be simple things, right? Like I would go and get a coffee in the morning, a medium or whatever. And I didn't realize until I went back and asked the breakfast place, like, hey, like in your coffee, is it coconut milk? Because that's low calorie. Is it almond milk? Julie, they were like, oh, it's half and half. You're putting half heavy whipping cream and half milk together. So like, of course, like I'm drinking all of these calories. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Or thinking that this was something else that I didn't think about. Salad dressing, it's just oil. It's just, all these things, 3, 4, 5 extra 100 calories because I'm going so heavy. So I'm eating like a salad, which is true, but the dressing is going all over the place. So I was intaking so much more. My struggle, Julie, to be very honest with you, was an inability to understand how to break down like the plate in front of me, right? So on the swap stock, I think that's really intelligent. If you talk to Urjita about this, she'll be like, Ursula resisted me a lot in the beginning. And I did because I didn't understand it. I was like, well, this is dumb. Why do we need only this many condiments? And she's like, because you don't want to be full on a condiment. You want to be full on an actual meal. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Think about your plate, right? So let's say a quarter plate is rice. And then another quarter, let's say, is a meat, like a chicken. And then half is veggies. But you wouldn't want to eat a plate that was like half ketchup or half cheese. Because what will it do for you later? And I was like, oh, dang. And she was like, do you see what I'm saying? She's like, I'm not trying to make your life hard. I just want you to understand how these things go. And I have, Julie, in my entire life, I have never conceptualized a plate that intelligent.
Yeah.
Lot of struggles with diet. Not that I was trying to gain weight or that I was trying to do anything. I just didn't understand.
Yeah. So you feel like, that knowledge was really key in taking you to that next phase.
That maybe and nothing else. Like if I had to rank it, that was the most important.
Yeah. Absolutely. What helped you remain consistent, Arsala? Dieting comes with its challenges, of course, like you mentioned at the beginning of the call. But you certainly are very consistent to be able to be on that amazing journey so far. What helped you remain consistent?
This is a good question, but it's complex. Part of it is knowing that ultimately, despite the fact that Urjita is my trainer and she is helping me and she's always in service to me and all these things, I am doing this for me. So in the last couple of years, we've had some family health scares. In the beginning of 2023, I buried my grandmother. She died from complications. Thank you so much. She died from complications with diabetes. She had to go in and get 2 toes amputated. And the last 8 weeks of her life, Julie, were so difficult. She spent the last 8 weeks of her life in the hospital. In the last week, she was in a coma of those 8 weeks. So witnessing that. And then last August, my grandmother's daughter, my aunt, was diagnosed with brain cancer. So by the grace of God, she is still with us. And I have many hopes and prayers that she will remain so and that she will grow in her health. But I kept thinking to myself, it happened to my grandmother and to my aunt, but who's to say it cannot happen to me? Of course it can. But we need to make decisions now to be able to mitigate the future. The things that have helped me stay consistent is witnessing the health issues in my families and also to be able to know that this is a relationship I have to myself. I'm not really proving anything towards that. It's not really for her. I can't prove anything to you. It's not for you. This is for me. So like I said, it helps me become an adult, this sort of thing. What decisions are you willing to make, right? The same way that you pay your bills, same way that you go to your job. What are you doing when you just have to give back to yourself?
Yeah.
That's what makes me stay consistent is my relationship to myself and understanding things that can happen with your health as you age.
Yeah. It's certainly keeping that focus and that ultimate goal to keep you motivated as well. Absolutely. Yeah, that's really a family situation. But of course, sometimes it take a step back and reflect on our life and decide on what path we want to have our life trajectory going through, right?
Yes. And I mentioned to you earlier, Julie, that I've been weight training for a long time. Before my grandmother went in for her surgery, she stayed with us in our family for a long time. And she was visiting another family member of mine. And one night she was sitting on her couch reaching for her cane and she fell. It was on a carpeted space, but still she was 80 plus. She fell and she tried to get off the ground and my grandmother couldn't. And finally, when my other relative, my other aunt came home and saw that Mimi was on the floor, we called my grandmother Mimi. She tried to pick Mimi up. She couldn't do it. And out of everyone in the family, she called my mother and said, send Arsala. Arsala's the only one who's strong enough to pick someone up. Right? That moment struck me. I thought to myself, my God, there was nobody else to call, or the women would have come together to help join and be picked up. And I thought, I can be in service to my family in this way. I can be strong. I can be powerful. I can be disease-free. I can be the person to call to be in service so that God forbid if anybody falls, God forbid if anybody needs something lifted, I can do that.
Yeah, that is certainly a great trait to have to keep you motivated and keep you also taking care of yourself, not only for yourself, but also to be of service and to helping others. Because let's face it, we can't pour from an empty cup, right? So in order you take care of yourself, in order to be able to take care of people around you and the people that you love.
Yes.
Absolutely, Arsala. Thank you for sharing. This is really great. And I'm pretty sure you're going to inspire a lot of people who are intimidated by this journey. So that's my question to you would be, is that what would you tell somebody who's intimidated to start a health journey or to change their life?
I would tell them to imagine in their mind a weighing scale. And I would say, put the intimidation you have on one end of the scale, that you're intimidated to join autonomy. Will it be worth it? Won't it be worth it? And on the other end of the scale, put the frustration that you're living with right now. If you're not that frustrated, stay where you are. But if you are ready to fully pour into yourself, to be able to be of service to others, and I know people are so afraid, Julie, of failure. I know this. You're going to fail no matter what. You will, and you'll fail over and over and over again. It doesn't matter, but your trajectory will be moving upward through plateaus and failures. Put that weighing scale in your mind, figure it out, and then take the step. There's no reason not to. Fear should not be the motivator not to do so.
Exactly. This is really thoughtful and deep because we always have these mental barriers that we create for ourselves not to do anything or unlock our true potential. And then you feel like, oh man, I could have never thought that I could have done this before. We always get ourselves in these situations.
And I love the way you said that, right? A mental barrier barrier. A barrier is something that corrals you inward, which means that the risk is on the other side of the barrier. And that's the scary part. It is scary. But the barrier also keeps you limited in how you're able to move. But the more that you open a barrier, the more that you're like, oh, but I can't. Because there will be clients from autonomy probably in this moment right now who will say, oh, I can't walk 10K steps a day. Sure you can. Oh, I can't construct a plate like that. Sure you can. Oh, I've never lifted weights before. Okay, sure you can. But there is this, but like you said, there's always a barrier of a belief of, oh, I could never. How do you know that that's true without trying the other?
Exactly. It's always like important to overcome our skepticism and our fear to unlock our true potential.
And I'll tell you this too, Judy, this is something that's in my heart. Seeing all of the chaos and the turmoil in the world today, God forbid, but in the world today, things that we are seeing across so many nations, across political administrations that are around right, it is not the time to have poor health, to be physically weak and incapable. You never know when you will be needed to be of service to other people. There is a company, and this may be a little bit morbid, but there is a company of two bodybuilders who make a clothing company. And I saw a t-shirt, Judy, probably 10 or 15 years ago that said one of the scariest things I'd ever seen on a shirt in my life. The shirt read, when the time comes, there will not be enough people to bury the dead. And that sounds so morbid and so scary. But I think to myself, so much of taking charge and control of your health is a political statement. You are somebody who is going to go against the grain. Everything in our homes now is all about comfort. Comfy couch, comfy, I have blankets and I have my television. In order to be the 10K step person, you have to get rid of these sorts of things in greater service of you and who you are and how you are as a person. I have so much belief in the empowerment of humans. I believe we can anything we want, Judy, we can.
Yeah, it's important to step out of our comfort zone to try new things. So let's talk about something positive then. Let's switch up the topic a little bit. Tell me about the difference between Arsala, who was 91 kilos, and Arsala, who is today around 81 kilos.
91 kilo Ursula was very frustrated with herself and was very sad because she was confused as to why she was not able to become lean. Frustrated, sad, and confused, and almost like hazy, like you can't, like there's something over the eyes, like you can't see. And Ursula today has a great deal of clarity, is enjoying this process very much. This Ursula is learning about Ursula every day, even at the age of 37, doesn't matter. Still learning about Ursula and is still finding gratitude in the day. And the body more fluid now. I think before I felt a little stocky,
rusty.
Like rusty, like I had to put oil in my joints and things. And now it's moving much better. Those are the differences. Yes,
absolutely. What do you feel is next for Arsala today?
Probably refinement or polishing of the process. So now that I have just completed March, April, May, June, I've completed my 4th month. I think now I can move a little bit towards getting even more refined, because I think the end goal is that I would like to become a more elite performing athlete or an elite, strong human. I doubt I'll ever compete, publicly or anything like that, or join a sport. But to be an elite athlete is something that I have a desire for.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Over time.
It's always great to have actually goals. Like once we reach the first goal, we build towards the next goal. Otherwise, we lose purpose in life. So that's amazing. And that will help you actually work harder towards that goal, towards that next goal. I would love to have you on that 2nd episode once you're starting to prepare and becoming an elite power lifter. That would be like really great.
I would be honored, Julie. You have been so kind, so understanding, so welcoming towards me. It would be such an honor to sit in front of you again. You have a welcoming spirit. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I appreciate it. All of us here, me, hearing your story, very proud of you personally. And all of us in the team as well are really proud of you and happy to have you. And you're doing absolutely amazing things. And that's why, we wanted to get you on these podcasts, because I know that your story is going to inspire a lot of other people as well who will be watching this episode.
Thank you. It means so much. Every story from autonomy that I have heard has inspired me. So to be in service of something that will move forward beyond me is exactly the sort of thing that I am here for. Thank you so much. To be part of something that will help serve and empower others. Thank you.
That's fantastic, Arsala. Really great to hear that. Well, thank you, Arsala, for jumping in to this podcast. It was an honor to speak with you. I really enjoyed my time, and I'm looking forward to episode number 2, which we will schedule later on. I'm really looking forward to that next phase when you are done with the dieting phase and now we're working on increasing our strength while maintaining our current body. So that would be really great to get that different perspective from a dieting Arsala to now a more muscle strength focused Arsala.
Yes, certainly. I am very looking forward to it, Judy. Thank you for inviting me today. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in. It was a great episode, and I will catch you later in another episode of the Autonomy Podcast. Thank you very much.